Hey everyone, it's Kai from Cool Collectibles back again for another review. This time it's the Transformers Masterpiece MP-52+ Skywarp. Now this actually came out I think at the end of last year in late December or early January. But it's taken about 3 months for this to arrive because of the Hong Kong shipping delays. So I actually got this from Robot Kingdom and it was just about to be shipped out in early December until Hong Kong Post posted a whole bunch of suspensions to Australia, the US, Canada, etc. And I thought it was only going to be a couple of weeks, but it's dragged on for about 3 months, and so I gave up waiting and just paid a bit extra to get them to ship it via TNT, which I think was pretty ridiculous considering we paid quite a lot for EMS shipping in the first place. So either way, it's here now, and by my initial look here, straight out of the box, there aren't too many issues with the figure at all. Or hopefully once I get through the transformation, I'll have a better idea of that. But for now, this is pretty much all the contents you get in the box. Pretty stock standard from the previous MP-52 figures, if you're familiar with those. I assume you are if you're watching this particular video. So I haven't even put up the box. I've dumped that on the side here. It's pretty much the stock standard box. But from an accessories perspective, you get the usual stand here, which is pretty good overall. The only thing I hate about this particular flight stand, particularly for jet mode, is attaching this clip to the figure on the underside. Getting that through the two slots is an absolute pain, and then getting it off, you do run the risk of paint chipping or damaging the figure trying to get this off. So you pretty much have that on there, and then you can have the aircraft on flying mode, tilted on the side, etc., and you can adjust this base to have it at different heights. So overall, not too bad. I've seen a few people use this in bot mode as well. I think there's a hole or something in the crotch area for you to attach that, but I haven't been bothered doing that at all. But for those that like doing those poses, you have that stand to do that. Comes with the usual instruction book and also the collector card. The collector card art isn't too bad. I normally just pack these away now and don't have them on display in the Ultra Pro magnetic card cases. There's just not enough room in my collection to have these all on display as well, so I usually just pack them away, but it does look pretty nice. Comes with the blast effects like the other figures did, so the purple sort of null ray effects here, and then you get the two yellow booster effects that you can attach to the back of the aircraft, but I don't tend to use those even in photo ops and so on, so they'll go back in the packaging. The Megatron rifle that you can hold in bot mode. I actually think the previous releases of the gun in the MP-11 mold is much nicer. Here's a quick comparison. The one that you get here is, I think it came with Thundercracker. I can't remember if it came with Thundercracker or Starscream, but it's pretty much identical to that with the very dark sort of gunmetal grey paint application, whereas the original had the nice sort of chromed, oh not chromed, but metallic silver paint up there. Just brings out the details a bit more, I think. I think they went a bit too dark on this one, similar to some of the hues on the Starscream figure itself. So overall, I think I prefer that over the new one, but I guess this new one will probably fit the hand and the scale better. But I'll definitely have Skywarp holding that. I think I won't be able to get the Starscream coronation set, so Starscream and Thundercracker will pretty much be just standing there. No reflector release or anything like that accessory, which is unfortunate. I thought that would have been perfect for these Seekers, but never mind. I think that's all the accessories. Oh no, there's a number of face plates as well. If I can sort of hold those up, you get the sort of smiling sculpt there, and the sort of screaming, shouting faceplate, and then the laughing faceplate. I think the only difference between these and the Thundercracker faceplates, well, that Thundercracker has a slightly more metallic silver paint application, whereas these ones have more of the cartoon style matte finish in that grey. Not sure which one I like better yet, but I guess it's good that they've differentiated the three of the figures, with Starscream having a slightly darker colour as well. But they all look pretty good, although I do like that red in the eyes. But that is pretty much all the accessories, so now I'll just get onto the figure itself. Hold on. Alright, so here is the MP-52 jet mode on the right and the original MP-11 on the left there. And straight away you'll pretty much notice that the hues in the purple are dramatically different. The ones on the left here are pretty similar to the first release of the MP-29 Shockwave in that sort of lighter lilac sort of colour. And the new one, in hand it doesn't look as saturated or high in contrast as it looks on camera or in photos. In hand it actually looks very, very nice. But it is more similar to the MP-29+ Shockwave, which has the darker, sort of more pronounced purple. The original prototype or promotional photos, there was a bit of confusion because the ones that I saw from a Japanese website had the colours more muted and more lilac in hue, whereas then I think the Amazon official Takara website, there was the Amazon site, then the Takari Mall website, both had the same photos but with the sort of colour timing of those photos more similar to the way the final figure released. So I guess considering that they were exactly the same photos, it was definitely some photoshopping or colour timing correction in whoever was posting those particular photos. For the most part, I actually thought that I was going to be very disappointed with the purple on the right, but once you get it in hand, it actually does look very nice and probably suits the character just a little bit more, I think. And you go back to the cartoon, and the cartoon's probably never a good indication with so many of the animation errors in it. But there were some cartoons or some episodes where the hue was very similar to the right, and then some where the hue was very similar to the left. But overall, if I just gotta give you a quick look at the underside as well, I think you'll see the vast difference in the purple there as well. I do love the paint application on the newer version though. The matte sort of grey finish is not as dark as the unpainted plastic on the MP-11 here. The MP-11 does have a very sort of shiny plasticky look to it, whereas the new MP-52 versions across all three, everything, or pretty much for the most part, is painted. And you'll know that it's painted because if you do happen to get any sort of paint scratches, etc., you'll see the underlying different color of the plastic underneath, so just be aware of that. But all of these panels, etc., are definitely painted in that sort of matte dark grey finish, and then all of these are the painted light grey. So I think it does give the figure a much more sort of premium feel to it. Now the biggest difference also from the prototype or the promotional photos is the cockpit here. I think the three figures in the promotional photos actually had different styles of cockpits, both in jet mode and in the bot mode, but I think with the final releases they've made all of those the same style, which is pretty good in my book, so I much prefer that. And I think people have been, in bot mode, you probably can't see it because it's underneath there, but in bot mode people have been putting paper or some sort of, what do they call it, foam or something in there to fill it out, to sort of make it not so translucent, and it does make it even more cartoon accurate in bot mode. So that is an option if you do want to go there. But overall, if you know the previous figures, you pretty much know what you're getting in jet mode. I always display my figures in bot mode, unless it's a repaint or a you know, one of the Diaclone repaints, etc. But for the most part, the core cast is always in bot mode, so I won't have it in this mode for much longer. It'll probably take me close to an hour, I reckon, to transform this thing. But I'll get all the plastic off and give you guys a comparison shortly in bot mode. So hold on, thanks. Alright, so here he is in bot mode, and the transformation again reminded me about why I hate doing those transformations so much. That whole process of getting the chest folded up and pushed through was an absolute pain in the ass yet again. Lucky I didn't break anything. But I definitely don't want to be doing that anytime soon again. But everything else was as, I guess, smooth as I remember the last time with Thundercracker. So overall, I guess it wasn't too bad. Maybe it took me about 30 minutes or so, which is probably the fastest I've done this transformation for MP-52. But here he is in bot mode, and I have to say I love the cartoon accuracy of this paint application. The purple, as I was saying before, does look more saturated and high in contrast on camera, but as I was saying before, in person. And if you're not getting it, or you're still on the fence, see if you can find somewhere where you can see it in person, because the purple actually is in hand quite nice, and probably in more alignment with I guess MP-29+, and I guess some of the third-party backdrops that you also get if you want to sort of have that Decepticon base in your display. Some of the other key things on cartoon accuracy, I love the sort of aqua highlights there in the kneecaps. The overall upside down sort of insignias on the wings, there's always lots of discussion on that. As you can see, I've got the Megatron already in hand there. It is a little bit fiddly getting that in, and it doesn't quite fit perfectly in the slot, at least for mine. But I guess on display it does look pretty good. So I'm just going to get the MP11 just for a quick comparison. Hold on. Right, so here is MP11 on the left and MP52 on the right, and pretty much I think it's night and day for me. I think what I said on the Thundercracker and Starscream reviews was pretty much that you can see how there are maybe, I think it's about 10, 11 years of toy design in difference. MP11 was pretty good for its day, but the engineering for the MP52 mold is just amazing. I think there are still a lot of collectors out there who like the MP11 for its jet mode, and I'll be keeping mine in jet mode for sure, but in bot mode there is just no real comparison. I think there are some third-party options out there now that are pretty good too. Deformation Space, I think they're called. Looks pretty good and is slightly larger, so I guess that's an option for those that don't want to go with the Takara version. But I'll be sticking with Takara in my collection, and I think definitely for bot mode, if you like that cartoon accuracy, MP52 is the way to go. And you can sort of clearly see the difference in purple there with the lilac on the left. Now that I have them and side by side, I really am glad that Takara went with this darker purple, because it does pop a lot more on display and doesn't look so sort of faded. I think the lilac on the left there almost looks like it's been in the sun too long and lost a bit of the color. But I'll get the MP52 Starscream and Thundercracker out for a final comparison, and then close up the review. Alright, so here are the three MP52 molds in bot mode side by side, and if you're a G1 cartoon fan, then this sort of sight on your shelf will make you full of nostalgia. I think this is just an amazing design by Takara, and I'm definitely glad to get this 2.0 version. There were a lot of collectors out there that were pretty happy with MP11, maybe even like 2 years ago, and I was probably one of them. But as soon as they showed some of the prototype photos of these, I knew I just had to upgrade to these, and they do look fantastic on the shelf. The overall build quality, I think they've steadily improved as they've released each one. I guess there were, highlighted issues with Starscream, particularly around his ankles. Thankfully mine are okay. Maybe a little bit loose, but no cracks or anything like that. And then with Thundercracker, the joints were a little bit tighter, clearances were a little bit better. And then with Skywarp here, the joints are actually pretty firm, particularly the elbows and the ankles and knees. I don't have any issues at all with those, and no sort of cracking plastic either. Starscream, sorry, did have some issues with cracks along the base of the vertical stabilizers, I think they're called. But Thundercracker and Skywarp don't have those issues at all. So hopefully they continue with this sort of better quality with their upcoming releases. I do have MP-55 Nightbird and Crosscut coming as well, and I guess with them being repaints, they do tend to be a little bit better quality as they release them. So that's pretty much it. Hopefully you like that look at the new MP-52 Skywarp. Together, I think these will make any G1 Transformers fan happy, so hopefully you like that look, and can subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for my upcoming reviews over the next 2 to 3 months. There will be a few Transformers in that mix as well. So until then, thanks again, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers, bye.